pagers and cell phones and soft, doughy judge. I don't know what you make of this, but he's not a normal person.
Right. Well, so the question is there selective amnesia when it comes to Trump? Is that, are we truly the United States of amnesia, as Gore Vidal used to say? And to some extent, if you believe these polls, there's a certain amount of amnesia. And so I was actually glad that they covered some of that press conference the next day, the day after the guilty verdict. But it was interesting, and so many of the lies were so blatant. I mean, the idea that there's an army of Chinese soldiers coming from Mexico. I mean, I don't even know how that would work.
Right.
So I do think it is important to unpack the lies, but, you have to real-time fact check him, because otherwise this information just goes on, and his supporters repeat it. What I think is interesting is they have been desperately trying to spin this verdict in all different ways. They say it helps him, and then you have the Speaker, the United States Speaker of the House, right? Number 2 to the presidency, saying that the Supreme Court should come in and overrule this verdict. There's no mechanism for that, but it shows that they are really panicked. And
so, Jen, this is the problem, that if one is a low information voter, you can understand how we've seen so many examples of repetition. People will say things that they hear them say, but we're not talking about low information people. As Molly said, we're talking about the Speaker of the House. We're talking about that red tie brigade of politicians. We're talking about everybody who wants to be his vice president. Very senior people, some very powerful, some very influential, who are parroting exactly the same lines about how this is a banana republic and this was a witch hunt and this was a political prosecution.
Well, let me first say that I think it's malpractice for the journalistic troops not to begin asking questions about Trump's sanity, his mental and emotional status. He sounds nuts. Now, maybe he's just an angry person, but listen, he didn't sound this nuts. He didn't sound this disjointed 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or even a year ago. He is mentally and emotionally unwinding. And the fact that the press doesn't cover him for any period of time where the average person can watch for a minute or two and see this, or they don't raise those issues, is, I think, inexcusable.